Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into Java 17, a really foundational update for anyone curious about, well, how the digital world gets built.
Absolutely,
And
yeah.
this isn't just any version, is it? It's long-term support, LTS.
That's right, LTS.
Yeah.
Released back in September 2021.
Okay.
And that LTS label, it means it's built for the long haul. Rock-solid stability support for years.
Got it. So our mission today, break down 5 key features from Java 17.
Yep.
Make them super clear, even if you've never coded before, and really highlight why they matter to you.
Okay.
We're looking at sealed classes, pattern matching for switch, records, those enhanced pseudo-random number generators, and one big removal, the Applet API.
Yeah, and what's really cool is how all these things together, they just make programming, well, simpler.
So simpler, safe.
Safer, exactly. And more modern, really. Especially if you're just starting out on your coding journey.
Right.
These features, they give you a much smoother path. You can get stuff done faster, fewer headaches.
Okay, let's dive in then. First up, sealed classes. Sounds a bit official. What exactly are these?
Yeah, they do sound a bit formal. Basically, sealed classes are a way for a programmer to say, okay, for this specific class, this blueprint, only these specific other classes are allowed to use it or extend it.
Extend it, meaning like build upon it.
Exactly, like creating a more specialized version. So think of maybe a blueprint for a vehicle in a game.
Okay.
You might extend that to make car, truck, motorbike.
Right.
With sealed classes, the original designer says, okay, only car, truck, and motorbike are allowed based on this vehicle blueprint. Nothing else.
Ah, like a guest list for code.
Kind of. Or like a chef with a secret recipe book.
Okay.
She says, only my trusted apprentices can create variations based on my original recipes. It gives control. Ensures only intended changes happen.
So why is that control so important? What was the problem before?
Well, before, any class could pretty much extend any other class. Which, in big complex programs, could lead to unexpected stuff, things changing in ways you didn't anticipate.
Right, like that apprentice adding a weird ingredient.
Exactly. Suddenly the whole dish is off.
Yeah.
Seal classes prevent that. They make the program structure more predictable.
Easier to manage, I guess.
Much easier to manage, easier to maintain, especially on large teams or big projects. And here's the neat part. The compiler, the tool that checks your code,
Yeah.
it can now use this information.
Yeah.
If you write code that's supposed to handle all possible types of, say, vehicle, the compiler can actually tell you if you've missed one. Like, hey, you forgot about motorbikes.
Oh, wow. So it catches errors for you.
Before you even run the program. It's like built-in quality control. Makes things much safer.
That sounds super helpful. So for someone just starting out, how does this help me directly?
It helps you build more organized code right from the get-go.
Yeah.
Less prone to those subtle, hard-to-find errors. You set clear rules for your code blueprints. It's like setting clear rules for a group project. Everyone knows the plan. The result stays consistent. You can focus on building reliable stuff.
I like that. Setting clear rules. Okay, makes sense. Now, speaking of making things cleaner and smarter, Java 17 also upgraded how programs make decisions.
Yeah, big time.
Pattern matching for switch. What's the story there?
Right, so pattern matching for switch, it's a much smarter, more concise way to handle decisions in your code.
Better than the old switch statement.
Way better. Think of the old switch like a simple menu based on one value, like if the user clicks save or delete, it picks an action.
Okay.
Pattern matching makes those menus more intelligent. It lets the program check not just simple values, but more complex things, like what type of data is this thing?
Ah, okay.
And it does it all in one clean step. Before, you had to do this awkward check, like, is this thing a string? Then you had to explicitly tell Java, okay, treat it like a string now.
Right. I remember that being fiddly.
Yeah, kind of verbose. Pattern matching combines the check and the ability to use the thing as that specific type, all inside the switch. Much cleaner, much safer.
So it's streamlining those complex decisions. Why was that kind of upgrade needed? What was clunky before?
Well, if your decisions got complicated, maybe based on different types of data or multiple conditions, you often ended up with lots of if-else if statements, nested maybe, or those awkward type checks we mentioned. It could get long, hard to read, and easy to make a mistake.
Yeah, I can picture that.
Pattern matching just cuts through that, combines the check and the action. Less code, fewer bugs, easier to understand what's going on, especially when dealing with different kinds of data.
Okay, that reduction in errors sounds key. How does this make life easier for a beginner, practically speaking?
It just makes writing decision logic much clearer and, frankly, more robust for you.
Okay.
You can handle different scenarios more easily. Maybe you're getting input from a user, and it could be a number or text. Or you're managing different items in a game inventory. This makes writing the code to handle those differences much more straightforward. It's like having a really smart checklist.
Right.
Helps you make the right choice quickly, accurately, without getting tangled up.
Nice. A smart checklist. I like that. Okay, third feature, records. It sounds like it's about data, making that simpler.
Exactly right. Records are a special kind of class, lightweight, designed purely to hold data. Simply. Clearly.
Like, just the facts.
Pretty much. Imagine like a little note card. Holds just the essential info: student's name, grade. That's it.
Okay.
And the beauty is, records automatically give you all the basic tools you need. Ways to create them, ways to get the data out, ways to print them nicely. You don't have to write all that yourself.
Ah, so it cuts down on repetitive code.
Massively.
Yeah.
And crucially, records are immutable.
Immutable, meaning?
Meaning once you create a record with some data, that data can't be changed ever.
Oh, okay. Why is that good?
It's huge for reliability.
Yeah.
Especially in complex programs where different parts might be looking at the same data.
Mm.
If the data can't change unexpectedly, it prevents a whole class of really tricky bugs. Makes your program safer, easier to reason about.
So less repetitive code, immutable.
Yeah.
Sounds like a win-win for making things reliable and faster to write.
Totally. Before records, even for a simple data holder class, you had to write all this boilerplate code.
Boilerplate, like standard repetitive stuff.
Exactly. Methods to get the data, maybe set the data, though often you wanted it immutable anyway. Methods to compare objects, print them out. It was tedious.
Yeah.
And error-prone. Easy to make a typo in one of those simple methods. Records just do it all for you automatically. Programs get shorter, easier to write, fewer bugs.
Okay, I'm sold on less tedious code. How does this make programming maybe more approachable or even fun for someone new?
It lets you handle data really easily, really quickly, right off the bat. You can create structures to hold, say, book titles or maybe high scores for a game or customer details without getting bogged down in all that setup code.
So you focus on the interesting part.
Exactly. You focus on what your program does with the data. Displaying it, sorting it, using it in calculations. It removes a big chunk of boring setup and lets you get to the creative part faster.
Okay, we've covered organization, decisions, data, but there are times you need a bit of randomness, right?
Absolutely. Add spice.
So, enhanced pseudo-random number generators. What's enhanced here?
Right, so these are tools for creating numbers that look random.
Pseudo-random, yeah. Not truly random.
Not truly random, no. They use complex formulas, which is actually useful sometimes.
How so?
Because if you start the formula the same way, you get the same sequence of random numbers. Good for testing or making sure a game simulation is repeatable.
Ah, okay. Makes sense.
The enhancement in Java 17 is about giving programmers more choice and flexibility.
Okay.
There are now different algorithms, different methods you can choose from for generating these numbers, and it's easier to manage them, maybe even have one central random generator used across different parts of your program.
Like a single dice everyone shares.
Kind of, yeah. Ensures consistency if you need it.
So why was this needed? Were the old ways bad?
Not necessarily bad, but maybe a bit limited,
Yeah.
and sometimes harder to customize if you needed very specific kinds of randomness.
Right.
If you were doing complex simulations or needed, say, statistically strong randomness for security, you might have had to build your own custom thing, which is tricky.
A headache, probably.
Definitely. These new generators offer more options out of the box. Easier to get the random behavior you want, whether it's shuffling cards fairly, generating test data, or making gain enemies move unpredictably.
Okay, so for a beginner, what kind of fun stuff can I do with this easily now?
Oh, lots. It makes adding that unpredictable element much simpler.
Oh.
You could make a simple game character wander around randomly, or build a quiz app that really shuffles the questions each time.
Ooh, I like the quiz idea.
Yeah, it just makes your programs more engaging, more dynamic, and you can experiment with randomness without needing a degree in statistics. It's much more accessible.
Cool. Okay, last one. And this is something Java 17 removed.
That's right. Subtraction by addition, you could say.
Huh. The Applet API. First off, what was an Applet API? API is Application Programming Interface, right?
A set of tools and rules for software to talk. The Applet API was Java's old way of letting small programs, called applets,
Mini programs?
yeah, mini programs, run directly inside a web browser. Think back, maybe years ago, you saw little games or interactive diagrams on websites.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes they took ages to load.
Exactly. Those were often Java applets. Java 17 just removed the tools for making and running those.
Okay, why? Just because they were old?
Pretty much. They're obsolete technology now. Modern web browsers don't really support them well anymore, if at all.
What replaced them?
Technologies like JavaScript, HTML5, CSS,
Hmm.
they handle all that interactive web stuff now, and frankly, much better and more securely.
Security. Was that an issue?
It was, yeah. Apples became a bit of a security headache over the years.
Hmm.
Difficult to manage. So keeping the Applet API around just added clutter to Java.
Clutter, confusion for new learners.
Exactly, and the security risks.
Mm-hmm.
Removing it just cleans things up, makes Java leaner, more modern, more focused on what people actually use it for today.
Okay, so cleaner, more modern. How does not having this applet thing help me as a beginner? Seems like just less stuff to ignore.
That's basically it. It means you're learning a version of Java that's focused on relevant current technology.
Right.
You won't waste time learning about this outdated way of doing things that you'll, frankly, never use in a modern job.
Good point.
You can focus your energy on building desktop apps, web services, Android apps, things people actually build with Java now. It's like getting a toolbox that only has the useful modern tools, not the rusty antiques.
A clean toolbox for today's projects. I like that. So wrapping this up, Java 17 feels less like just adding stuff and more about refining.
Yeah, refining, streamlining, modernizing.
Right. Sealed classes for organization and that compiler safety net.
Hmm.
Pattern matching makes decisions cleaner, records slash all that data boilerplate, and adds safety with immutability.
Yep, cuts down the grunt work.
Enhanced randomness adds flexibility for fun features.
Lets you add that unpredictability easily.
And removing the Applet API keeps Java focused, clean, secure.
Exactly. Focused on the present and future.
It really sounds like it makes Java overall easier to learn and use effectively.
I think so. Especially for you starting out, these features give you a really solid foundation.
Yeah.
You can build clearer, more robust, more engaging programs right from the beginning with fewer hurdles. It's a more refined starting point.
That's great to hear.
So here's a thought then. If Java 17 is making the language simpler, more intuitive, what kind of project, maybe ambitious but still beginner-friendly, might you tackle first with this cleaner, more powerful toolbox? What ideas does this spark for you?